All right, and we're here live. How many of y'all out there watching notice that I must have set this up for the wrong time because it was still saying on YouTube it's going to start in an hour. So I must have hit 9 o'clock, 9 p.m. instead of 8 p.m., but I knew it would let me start early. So looks like we're good over there. I guess we're live. Yeah, looks like we're live over on Facebook too. So, all right, all is well. Uh, Welcome to the CNC with Dave Gatton show. We were going to just do kind of a Q&A kind of deal like we usually do, I think, these days. But the guy to my, let's see, which, no, that way.
He would be
I always point the wrong way trying to do it on video. I'm
your
always,
left, our right.
yeah. Anyway, Dan Lovegren sent me some pictures earlier, and I mean, they were cool, and I like, well, let me, can I share those on the show tonight? And he said, sure. And then I thought, well, if you're not doing anything, just come on and join us on the show. So here is Dan Lovegren. He just gave me a little shop tour a while ago. Got an awesome looking shop. Let's say you built your Gatton, what, 3-4 months ago, something like that?
Yeah, just finished it in February.
Okay. All right, cool. So anyway, so we're going to be showing those here in a little bit. Also, right before I went live, about 15 minutes or so, we had another entry into the 2020 Quarantine CNC Challenge by Brian Mooney. So I shared that out, and I think I saw him over in the chat earlier as well. Let's see.
Yes, yeah. He was there.
I saw him out there.
Right near the top. Seventh one down.
Okay. Yeah, I see him. Okay. Yeah, there's already a bunch of comments out there, so I'm kind of behind on those. Yeah, Richard Kowalski says social distancing in Detroit must be 9 p.m. somewhere. Yeah, I think I screwed up. Must have put the time because I didn't even notice it until I was sitting here and I opened up YouTube over here and it said, yeah, we'll go live in 65 minutes. And I'm like, wait a minute, it's 5 till 8. So anyway, doesn't matter. It's all good. Anyway, we're going to be taking, like I said, doing the Q&A, taking your questions. If anybody's got them, put them in the chat here. Javi and I will look for them. And
Dave, let me ask you about the 2020 Quarantine CNC Challenge.
I'm glad you asked.
Something
Javi.
just made me want to ask.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked about that. Well, it's running as we speak, and unless things get a whole lot worse, the deadline currently, I moved it back once. We had it April 15th, and then they've kind of pushed back all this quarantine stuff. So I thought, well, we'll push it back a couple more weeks and give some folks some more time. So current deadline right now is April 30th, the end of April, and then we will do the. It's going to be decided by the people who watch the videos. When after the deadline, I'm going to post all the videos on my website. I'm going to have a form up there where people can vote for their favorite video, and then we'll announce the winner, who's going to get the magnificent trophy that I'm working on.
That's gonna be nice.
Still got a long way to go, but it's going to be special. We'll do that on May 16th right here on the CNC with Dave Gatton show. So mark your calendars.
And I just put the link in the chat. For
All
those
right,
of you
cool.
that
Cool.
don't want to go all the way over to Dave's YouTube channel.
Yeah. I think there's probably, let me look over here. I think if you click the show more button down below,
Yep.
there should be, well, no, maybe I didn't. Maybe I forgot to put it in there, but I'll put it in there after the show. Then I'll put a link to the challenge information on the website there. Okay, here's a good question right here. P&G Custom Woodworks. How are you going to keep people from voting more than once? It's going to be a pain in the rear for me, but it's really easy to do it. It's a lot of work, but it's not difficult, because I'll have a form filled out where they have to put their it's required that they put their name, first and last name, and even if they put Joe Schmo or something like that, I'll just throw those out. So, if it's not a real name, a legit thing, and then once I get those, they'll all come through me to my email, and then it's just a matter of doing a quick search, and you can find duplicates. So
I feel so sorry for the Schmo family. They got such a bad rap.
yeah, poor old Joe and Mrs. Smo.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a good question, and I try to keep it as fair as I can. I do that with all the challenge things that I do. So hopefully people will try to find a loophole or something like that. But yeah, it'll be some kind of form on the thing where you fill it out, I'll have little radio buttons, and then have the videos, name of the video listed, or whose it is, and then they'll vote and then send it to me, and that's it. Yeah, Rob Shoes, it's like Chicago: vote early, vote often.
Yeah.
All right. Any other question? Paul, let's see. I think that's Paul. P&G Custom Woodwork says, "Can you use YouTube like?" No, I don't want to use that. That's not.
What do I mix with the
One
Diet
reason
Coke?
why I don't
Nothing,
want to.
Clyde.
One reason why I don't want to use that is, we've got 3 videos so far, but the first one was out relatively quick, so it's going to get more time than everybody else's. So, I'm giving you till the 30th to get your videos uploaded, shot, and send me the link. But then once I put the form on the website, then everybody who's done a video, no matter whether they did it real early or finished right before the deadline, the voting starts all the same. So to me, that will be more fair than trying to use the YouTube likes. And besides, YouTube's too funny anyway. I'd rather not use them. Yeah, no stuff in the ballot box. Yeah, hopefully everybody will, this is all for fun, just to kind of give folks a distraction with all this craziness going on. We're stuck at home anyway, so you might as well get out in your shop and, make a little something, try to keep things light, not get too serious. You've seen the three videos so far, so it's not anything that was too super serious. So, let's see here. We got Hitch Hamilton in the house. How you doing, Hitch? Good to see you. Just looking to see if there's any other questions. I don't see any questions. I guess we might as well show Dan's pictures and let him talk about them a little bit.
Absolutely.
So let me get these. I should have had these already queued up. Dadgummit. Let's see if I can get them ready. I did get a folder off. Ready?
Brian Mooney said, is it? Oh, Moomy said first time doing a YouTube video, didn't really know what he was doing. Hope it turned out okay.
Yeah, I thought it was good. It's not really that hard to do a YouTube video. Sometimes it can be work if you make it work, but if you just have fun with it, it's good. And I know I'm going to have some questions for Brian later, because I don't know if a lot of people probably haven't had a chance to watch this video yet, but I'm interested in that little airbrush thing he was using. That was pretty cool. I like that. So, all right, let me get I'm gonna get Dan's stuff queued up here. What is it doing? This thing's going crazy here. It doesn't. Oh, there we go.
Dan, Clyde is asking if that's a model airplane hanging up there behind you.
Yeah, years ago I was really into model airplanes, and so I took all my old ones and hung them in the garage.
Sweet.
Yeah, a lot of dust on them now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that will happen when they're hanging in a wood shop. All right, let's look at some of Dan's pictures. And Dan, I'm just going to flash them up here, and I'll let you talk about them since you know what they are.
So I make a fair amount of cutting boards, and so this one is just obviously the state of Iowa, and I've got the perimeter inlaid there in walnut, and then the home is walnut, and there's a little dot right above the O, and that's where we live, and that's made out of it's a heart out of paddock, but it has kind of a red tinge to it. So I have that on sale on my website.
All righty. And what's your website? We'll plug that while you're on here.
It's Lovegren Woodworking and I can't think, upscaling. Lovegren Woodworking and Upscaling on Facebook.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I do more furniture than I do smaller items, but that's one of the reasons why I bought the CNC. Is like yesterday I was working on something on a table saw, and the Gatton was cutting a flag, and so that's one of the main reasons why I wanted to get the CNC, is to have that, like you say, a cheap worker.
Yeah, that's the best part, or one of the best parts about a CNC, is you don't have to sit there and watch it. Although they are fun to watch, you can go off and do something else, and it's like having another worker in your shop. So,
yeah.
All right, well, let me move on to the next photo here, and I'm just see if I can.
That just shows because I couldn't. People kept telling me, "Well, you're just painting that on there," and I'm trying to convince them, no, that wood is actually inlaid in the other wood, and so I'm trying to educate my customers on why it's worth the money that I'm.
Oh, they thought you were just painting it in there?
Yeah, they saw the picture and they said, well, that's just paint. And I said, no, it's not paint. It's not a decal. It's actually walnut wood inside the maple.
Yeah.
So this just shows the process.
Yeah, that's a good way to show it right there.
Yeah, that was only my second inlay, so it was fun. And then this one, I don't make a lot of flags, but I plan to in the future. And so this was the first flag that I made where I actually cut the stars in with the CNC, and then I put the local fire department logo in there. And then this is going to be a donation to the fire department.
Wow, that looks awesome.
Yeah, I was thrilled how it came out. I'm really new at the V-Carve Pro, so getting it to do what I want it to do has been exciting.
All righty, let's go. I like this one too.
Dan, do you have
a
website, or is it on your Facebook page?
It's my Facebook page.
Okay, then I'm gonna post the link in the chat room if.
Oh.
Yeah. There you go.
Hopefully this time next year I'll have an actual Facebook or a website, but at this point I just do Facebook. So this sign is a laser engraved The notes are laser engraved, and the Amazing Grace at the top is just carved in and painted. And so what I did is I carved it first, painted it, and then I just sanded the board down, stained it, and then did the laser engraving then after the fact. And it turned out pretty good.
Yeah, it turned out fantastic. That's really
The only thing that I
the Amazing Grace is V-carved in paint, and then this all the musical stuff is laser.
Yeah, it's lasered, and I had to buy the SVG file online because I haven't had good luck yet trying to scan notes and then bring them into V-carve.
Yeah.
I'm not very good at
Getting a whole load of compliments out there from the chat room.
Well, I certainly appreciate it, but I don't know that it's deserved. I'm just getting started.
That says a lot.
I know good work when I see it, and I'm looking at it right now.
Now, this one was a gift for a friend at work, a big Hawkeye fan. I live right in the middle of Iowa, so it's walnut inlaid with maple, and then the yellow heartwood is the Hawkeye symbol.
That's cool.
He was cool with it.
Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah, it turns out nice, and then the fact that yellow will stay yellow is really cool.
All right.
And then that's the same thing that you saw earlier, except this one is an inlaid version. So instead of the Amazing Grace being carved and painted, this one is walnut inlaid, and then the same process down below with the laser.
Becca's commenting that the inlays fascinate her.
Okay, now let's just talk about this. Let's just talk about this inlay stuff for a minute. You've had your CNC finished since when?
Since the middle of February.
The middle of February this year.
Yeah.
So
there
you're already doing this fantastic inlay stuff. So
well,
which many seasoned veterans still haven't attempted.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing CNC forever, and I've never even tried an inlay like that. I guess I better get on the stick, hadn't I?
It's really very, very easy. I watched the same video that everybody else talks about on the forums, and I'm terrible at names. I don't remember the guy's name, or I would give him a plug. The one that does the inlay with the hummingbird or the...
Yeah, I can't think of his name either, but I know who you're talking about.
But his video just lays it out perfectly, and I use the same settings, and it's been fairly easy to do.
Yeah, that's just great. And I wanted to bring that up because I know there's people out there that like me, they haven't done an inlay, or they might think it's really hard. Not that it's easy, but might think it's beyond their capabilities. But I mean, you've had your machine just going a month or two now and just killing it. I'm telling you, that's beautiful work.
No, thank you.
Let's see if I can.
This particular one is the local restaurant. We live in a very small town. There's only 2,200 people, but we have the Cattleman's Restaurant, and their cutting boards are in terrible shape. And so I went out there at the lockdown, and so I had them give me all their cutting boards. I've been planing them down, and then where there's cracks, I replace them with wood on the side, and then I use the laser with the logo on the bottom, and I'm just doing that for free for them, just to show appreciation.
Sure. Yeah. That's great.
Chris
job.
says he thinks the name is Brian Wright. Does that sound right? The inlay? Doesn't sound familiar. I'm trying to think of one that does the inlays manually that I've seen on various shows.
I can't remember the guy's name at all. I know the video if I saw it. It's the hummingbird one is the one that I watched.
And it's quick. It's like a 15-minute video, and it just lays it out perfectly.
Yeah. It's real easy to follow along and stuff. So I guess I gotta have to get off my duff and do one. Is this that same cutting board or is this a different one?
This is the same cutting board. The picture you had earlier was just a close up of the
Okay. Okay. All right. And I think I'm out of pictures now here.
Yeah, that's probably about it.
I think.
Peter Pasuelo did one, according to Mark Lindsay.
Yeah, he did one too.
Dave Van Antwerp. Is that the one you're thinking of?
I don't know. I'm drawing a complete blank.
Yeah.
I could look at it. Like I said, if I did hummingbird inlay, it'd probably.
Yeah. I'm searching for a bunch of them, and no name rings a bell. DePaul.
You can do V-carve inlay, and it should be the first video that pops up.
Okay. Sean Gano, Dave Van Antwerp.
You'd be able to tell by the picture because it shows.
The thumbnail show a hummingbird.
Peter, what? Yeah. Let me show the. Hang on a second. My mind is going here. I'm trying to. Yeah, here we go.
Somebody here. Oh, I got another entry to the challenge just now. So I'll be adding that to the playlist here in a bit. Rob says it's Dave Van Antwerp. So that's what Mr. Schuster says. Mr. Schuster's usually right on everything. So. All righty. Okay, well, that was all of the pictures for Dan. Has anybody got any questions for Dan since we got him on here tonight? Mike Haichu says, go to his Facebook page. Amazing work on everything.
Sauron Makes is Sauron Makes is another one that Matt Haas just referred me to.
Okay.
Which is a pretty good video I'm looking at.
All right.
Adrian Semeniak.
And we've got a lot of folks here tonight. Wow. A lot of folks. All right. Anybody got any questions for Dan? Okay, Rob Schuster says, what did you use for your inlay press?
I really don't have any kind of a press. I just did the V-carve pocket in the Hawkeye thing. It was in the walnut, and then I did the male version of it in the inverse. I just put glue on both sides, used to tighten on 3, and then I used just a wood clamp to hold it together overnight.
Okay.
Because there really isn't any pressing to it. It's not like a vertical surface inlay. It's two angular surfaces, so it doesn't take much of a press.
Yeah, you probably could just set a weight or something on it if you wanted, I guess.
Good.
Make sure it's.
I saw a guy do a cutting board with stars, and all he did was put glue on the stars and he pushed them into the pocket, and that was it.
All right, Stephen Toronto's asking, what is the process of doing an inlay? Probably the best thing to do would be to go to that video that we just mentioned, the Dave, whatever it was, Van Antwerp or something like that. But if you want to speak briefly on your process.
Dan, did you do the inverted V-carve that's fits into the V carve, glue it up, and then, or did you actually do well, what did you do?
Yeah. So like on this board, this is a piece of maple, and I first cut the Husker emblem here with the V carve,
With the V carve.
and then in V Pro, I took the same emblem and I just mirrored it so that it's upside down and in the software. And then you have to put a rectangle around that one that you just inverted.
So everything else is V carved flat, and that's and then that's basically the inverse. Gotcha.
Yeah, and I have one over here. Let me pull it over here.
Yeah, a picture speaks 1,000 words.
So this is when I did the home
There you go.
cutting board, I knew I wanted to do 2. So I went ahead and cut 2 of these.
Right.
What I'll do is I'll end up trimming with the bandsaw around here and then just put glue on this, stick it down.
Right. And then you glue it all down. It should fit extremely snugly, and then all you do is just plane the top off.
Yeah, so the process that I've been using is I have a 14-inch bandsaw. So I just put this in the bandsaw and just skim it close and then run it through the sander.
Yeah.
But on larger Iowa one, I put it back in the Gatton CNC and then used a 3/4 inch wide end mill.
Right.
And then set up a square program and let it go around in circles.
And just basically surfaced it down to the
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I've watched people's videos and they do it both ways. Some of them will take it to the bandsaw to kind of get it, especially depending if they got a big old chunk of wood, they want to cut it off and leave a little bit sticking up and then either sand it or then plane it. And then some people just stick it up back on the CNC and plane it.
Yeah, the beautiful thing about the V-carve is that 9 times out of 10, it'll fit very, very snugly because of the angle. If the other way that I've seen people do it, and it's a nightmare, you've got to know your machine, and is basically using an end mill and creating an actual inlay, dropping it in, but that has to be like spot on perfect, and then you still have to fill in with sawdust and stuff.
I think I'm going to stay away from that.
My old buddy Larry Duggar says inlay is not rocket science, Dave. I'm proof of that. My first one was perfect. Don't sell yourself short, Larry. That's
I will second that. It was I watched the video and I did that little Husker sign right out of the gate, and it turned out perfect.
I don't know who let this guy in here.
Oh boy.
How you doing, Jerry? Good to see you, bud.
He's still alive.
Hope you feeling better, my friend.
Yeah, likewise.
Let's see. Mark Allen says that apparently he uses a press, that if anybody wants to see a photo of his press, PM him. So there you go. Let's see here. Here's another, would be another good example to go watch. Laney Shaughnessy has a video of V-carve inlay on his Spindle TV page. So Laney does pretty good tutorials. Pack a lunch, though, when you go to watch one of his, because they're usually at least a couple of hours or sometimes more, but they're good. I enjoy watching. I can catch them every chance I can, but okay. Ryan Ballard says 60 or 90 degree bit is better for inlays.
I don't know. I've only used
the 90.
I think it'd make any difference.
Yeah.
I used the 90, but I had something with a lot of detail. I would probably try the 60.
Yeah. The shallower you go, the harder it is to get it all to line up.
Yeah. Mark Allen says 60 degrees must be what he uses. So.
Yeah, again, like you said, Dan, it all depends on the detail. If you're doing something really big, by all means, go 90. But 45 or even 11.5 degree for really, really tiny stuff.
Yeah, Clyde says, by the way, Dave, a NEMA 34 motor will break a 1/2-inch carbide end mill and put a divot in your vise.
Good to know.
Clyde. Uh,
Mark says, compared to Laney, my videos are like an intermission. I don't know. you're in the running, Mark. You're in the running.
Yeah, we give Mark Lindsay a hard time about the length of his videos. He's been doing a lot better though. I've noticed the last several he's done. They
Well, the thing is, why change? His audience enjoys the detail.
Yeah.
And they
I do too if
appreciate
I have a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
But no, Mark does a great job. He's very thorough. That's why they're so long. You just can't say everything that needs to be said in a short amount of time.
Yeah, if you're just beginning, if you're just getting into the software, we all recommend Mark's videos because they are for the absolute most of them are for the absolute beginner, and they will walk you through the process. So there's no chance of, well, there's always a chance of mistakes, but
yeah, that's where I learned, and I'm still watching. I'm still trying to get through all of his V-carve.
Mark said his video tomorrow's about 20 minutes. That's what I mean. See, that's for you. That's short. That's really short. But they're always
what if I were
good, and we're very fortunate to have somebody like Mark Lindsay CNC in the Gatton Facebook group because, like Javi said a while ago, most of the people that get into it, well, obviously, most of them that get into the Gatton CNC, a lot of times it's their, they didn't even know how to spell CNC before they got one. So always good to have somebody like that around. Steve in Toronto, Dan, I think he's wanting a shop tour. What say you?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
I said Steve in Toronto's wanting a shop tour, and you're the only one in a shop. So I think he's talking to you. Is that possible, or are you tied down now? Oh, he's mobile there, I think.
No, we can do that. I mean, have I lost the video? Okay, so it's a pretty small shop, 29 feet square. So it's a 2-car garage. I'm getting ready in the morning to spray the clear finish on the flag, so I'm all set up for that. Then I've got my wood storage over here on the wall. Hopefully everybody's not getting
nice
dizzy. And then here's where I have the gas sitting.
Clyde Labani asks, where does your wife park?
Actually, the car goes in here almost every night. And
nice.
The car goes right in the center. And that's every on wheels, including the Gatton, but the Gatton doesn't move. It pretty well stays stationary unless I have to look at the electrical box, which is in the back.
Yeah. I was waiting for somebody to make this comment. Mark Lindsay's right on. He says 29 by 29 is a small shop. Yeah, that's a pretty good size shop, isn't it? I would love to have a 29 by 29 shop.
Wilson is asking what
big furniture here.
So Wilson's asking what size Gatton did you build?
What now?
What size CNC do you have?
Oh, I made mine 60 inches wide in the X and 56 in the Y. And Dave talked me off the ledge because I was originally going to make it 72 in the Y and 48 the X.
And he did the right thing. I can't walk in my place.
Yeah, it was a great decision because now I'm wide enough to where I can feed a sheet of plywood through if I would want to, and I might make one for the local golf course. They want me to make a 4x8 sign for them, so this will work perfect.
Yep. Becca says it's another Mike Mertzke neat shop. I don't know if you know Mike Mertzke, but he's I won't say he's a neat freak.
I'll say it. He's a neat freak.
Yeah. He's,
and beyond.
Yeah. He's one of the most organized people I've ever seen anywhere. But and I'm just the opposite. I'm organized chaos in my shop. So Dean says, how big is your shop, Dave G? Looks big on video. All of them always look big on video. My garage shop, I still call it a garage. It's not really a garage because there hadn't been a car in there in years. But it's about 22 by 20 or something like that. But it's got a lot of junk in it. So it's not really that big at all. It's got 3 CNCs in it, so that takes up a lot of room. And then I also have another, what I call my shop is around back, and that's a 12 by 28 building. So it's long and narrow. Clyde says, whoops, cleaned off my Gatton table 7 times. It's a mess right now again. Yeah, any flat surface for me I mean, if you guys can see my desk, like right here, this little spot is clean on both sides. There's papers and all kinds of stuff, So I make sure I have good camera angles. I mean, it kind of looks like this table back behind me here. There's always a bunch of stuff stacked up back there.
Tim's got a question for you there. There you go. Go ahead, Dave.
Oh, I guess, Tim, is that question for Dan? He says, other than your CNC, what's your favorite woodworking tool? Or I don't know if that's for Dan or for one of us. Or CNC probably is my favorite tool just because, just because. I mean, I got so many of them. But I will say, and I'm sure Dan can attest to this, and Javi can too, the CNC is a fun tool, but it's not always the right tool.
Yeah.
And some people, when they're new to CNC and they get one and get it going, they think that it's the right tool for every job, and it's not necessarily.
I still cut squares with it, and a table saw will do it 10 times more efficiently. You plane with it, a planer will do it more efficiently.
Yeah.
You joint with it.
Well, the perfect example is a few weeks ago, I did a video where I made that drawer for my Avid CNC. It fits right under the middle of the center of it. And I had a scrap piece of plywood, and all I was doing is making rectangles for the drawer. Just simple butt in glue and pin nail. It wasn't nothing fancy. It wasn't going to be dovetails or anything like that. And somebody commented on that video telling me that they said, well, you could have done that much more efficiently with a table saw. And I didn't even bother replying back to the guy, but I'm thinking, well, that's probably true. But in this case, the plywood was scrap. It was in my garage. My table saw is in my shop. and it was pouring down rain that day. So guess who's going to throw it on the CNC and cut it? But his point was, by the time you program that, do CAD and all that, and I'm like, it's simple rectangles. It didn't take 2 minutes to lay it out in VCarve Pro and do it. But, I mean, I get it. That's not necessarily the right tool, but it was the right tool for that day because of the weather. I would have had to carry that piece of plywood out and get it all wet, carry it around back to my shop. So, all right, here's a question for Dan. Dan, how did you get started in woodworking, and how long have you been doing it?
Oh, I got started way back in high school. I worked for a low contractor. When I went to college, I studied drafting. That was my major, and ended up going into industrial management. So I spent a lot of time in industry over the years, manufacturing, engineering, and right now I'm in materials. But I've always done woodworking even since high school. And then I started my side business here making furniture in 2008. And that's really what I make more of, a lot of coffee tables, TV stands, coffee bars, dining room tables, that sort of thing. But it seemed like almost every project I worked on, I started thinking, gosh, if I could just engrave this, or if I could put a laser mark on it. And so that's why I bought the CNC, because it seemed like it had so many applications.
Mm-hmm. Do you use your laser for branding some of the stuff you make, or do you brand it in other ways?
Yeah, I think long term, I think the laser will probably get as much work as the VCarve gets on my machine.
Okay.
I think all done.
What kind of do you have a spindle or a router on your Gatton CNC?
I just have a Porter cable router on there right now.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually I'd go spindle. Okay.
Well, the Porter cable, I'm a big fan of Porter cable, as I know a lot of folks there in the chat are as well. Mm-hmm. They're a workhorse. I've got one that I've had, I don't even know how old it is. And I think I replaced the brushes on it a couple times. And then I had it on the CNC, and I went to turn it off, and the switch stopped, quit working. Something broke on the switch, but it stopped. It broke with it in the on position. So I still use that router. I just have it plugged into a power strip. So, and it still keeps on going. So,
Rick Nolan wants to know what laser you have, Dan.
I have the JTech 4.2, and that's what this is. And then I just put some dowel pins on the back of it with rare earth magnets. And then when I use it, I put.
Oh, sweet!
And
that's
then
the way to do it.
Yeah. So then for the focus, I know what the distance needs to be from here. I've got a spacer block that I put under there and drop it down until it just touches.
Right.
And then that's the right. Sweet. And I put a plug in here for JTech. The Jay, you call him, and his customer service is incredible. I had multiple issues hooking it up, and they were all my issues. It wasn't his problem, but he helped me through every one of them and has incredible patience.
Yeah, the JTech lasers are not the most inexpensive laser, but you just can't beat the customer service you give them.
Yeah.
You've got dual. Go back there. You've got dual drag chains back there.
Yeah, I have two drag chains up on the X, and this one has the AC power for the router,
right?
And then the laser cables run through. One of them runs through this. One of them runs through this, and then this has the limit
motors.
Switches.
Gotcha.
And the motor. And I went with two because I had enough clearance down below there where I could fit two 1-inch ones, one on each side. And then I just I cut off this because I had it left over from the build, and then you see how the profile of that is lower.
Yep.
So it doesn't get hit by the center section there when it moves.
I like that. Those I was just looking at those drag chains. They don't look real big anyway. It's probably a good idea to have two of them, since it looks like it might get a little crowded in there if you tried to put everything in one.
Yeah, and then I did this a little differently too. This one here, it's an e-stop, but I'm using it as a master control relay. So when I pull this on, it powers up everything in the electrical cabinet.
Right.
And then when this is just a traditional e-stop after the master control. And then this is my laser control. So this turns the laser on.
Yep.
And then this resets it so I don't have to run around back every time.
Right. Ryan is also admiring the drag chain, the way to run the drag chain. I like it. Really looks really cool having the two rails like that.
What is that? Is that a dial indicator that I see on the side there of your Z?
The indicator? Oh, when I was cutting the flag together, this one?
Yes.
I put that on there the other day because I was cutting the stars for the flags, and when I did my test cut, one of the stars was just huge, and so then I looked, and this corner over here where the star was so big, this is an if, but it was higher, and so I put the indicator on there, and then I cut these stars in 4 quadrants. I would find the highest spot and then hit my Z plate to that spot, and then cut all the stars, and then the ones that were shallow, I would go back and recut. If that makes sense.
Okay, I thought
compensating.
Showing the drag chain, I thought that looked like a dial indicator, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I spend a lot of I spend a lot of wasted time. I don't know if it's wasted time or not, but most of my projects, they're either on rough wood or not. But I pre-plane every single one. So no matter how off they are, my surface cuts are always perfect because I pre-plane every one. But it takes, it's a lot of machine time when you figure how many different pieces I waste the time on.
Yeah, the next flags that I do, pay more attention to my glue up. I've never had to worry about it before because I've always hand cut the stars.
Yeah.
Those days are over.
You get a lot of compliments over there in the chat. Can you see the comments at all, Dan?
I'm sorry, what was that?
I said, can you see the comments on the
StreamYard?
On the StreamYard screen? I don't know if you can see them. I have them where the guests.
There's a tab that says live comments.
Oh no, I'm just on a little iPhone, so I can't see anything.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Well, Dave Clemens is asking if you built your own controller.
Yeah, I did the electrical all myself. Started it back in December, so this was before the pre-made controller was available, and that was my biggest apprehension about the build by far, just because I'm not an electrical person.
Yep.
And I never would have gotten through it without the forum. Michael Chipser was the biggest help. Actually, the guy helped me when I was taking his daughter to sell Girl Scout cookies one night. He was the main course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, old Chip's a pretty good dude.
Yep. A lot of good people out there, a lot of help.
What Hobby says about him, he's a pretty good dude.
Shh, that's not for public consumption.
Oh.
One more.
Steve Gronsky says, Hobby, do you mean surface every board?
Yeah, what did I say?
I don't know. Oh, look there he is. Old Chip, he's in the house.
There he is.
Oh, let's see. What do we got here?
Oh, is that lighted or lit from the back?
Unqualified personnel only.
And I put that on there because that's exactly how I felt when I was building it.
Oh, that's
there's
funny.
The panel.
Ooh, a lot of room.
I needed a lot of room. Good at it.
Yeah.
Me personally, I like when guys build the thing really big so that you got plenty of room to get your hands in there and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yep.
And that's just about 1,000,000 times more organized than mine. Mine's like spaghetti.
Yep.
Of course, mine's not even enclosed. I just have mine all mounted to that board hanging on the back of my machine. And until it quits working, it's probably going to stay like that. So.
Yep. Yeah, I like the I mean, after days of painstaking research and choosing all the different components, I'm happy with the choices I made because I mean, I've got a number of them out there. They're doing very well, and I've been with one particular one. I've been testing all the motors and everything, and it's flawless. So I'm really happy with it.
Chip said he's watching from the shop. Finally got the TV installed with all this time on his hands. Yeah.
There's a lot. There's a lot going on. That's one thing about the quarantine. Honeydew lists are getting done, and projects are getting done. Dave, you're producing video after video after video.
Yeah, well, I'm still not doing as much as I should, but I've got some pretty cool stuff coming up that I think is it's going to make for some good video to watch. I'll call it CNC porn.
Yep.
For the diehard CNC folks.
Yeah. Oh boy, I took a break from the electronics today and worked on my mower. It feels great getting your hands banged up. With change the casters, change the blades. It was a good feeling to be outside for a little while.
Rob makes me feel good. He says my electronics are a mess too, but it works if it ain't broke. Plus, I'm afraid to touch it.
That's the way to do it.
Like I said, as long as mine keeps working, I won't do it. Carrie Van Every says, I've got my husband hooked on watching you guys with me on TV on Saturday nights. Great. That's excellent. Of course, there's not a whole lot else to watch, probably.
Yep.
Starting my build soon now that the weather is getting nicer. Well,
Carrie, I want to make sure. I don't remember whether I sent her the tracking numbers, but let me know in the chat, and I'll send them to you if I didn't. What do you think, Dave? Should I? Is it time? Is it time to change the mower blade?
Yeah, it's past time.
It should be about this long.
Yeah,
there's 3 of them.
That bamboo mower you got hard on blades.
I need a CNC mower.
Larry says big box stores are making them in. Yeah, they probably are.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody trying to get the honeydew list done.
Yeah, thank you, Dean. Everybody, thumbs up if you are enjoying the show, or even if you're not.
Yeah, or if I'm down, you know. Doesn't matter. Let's see. Keith Stanford wants to know what level V-carve do you need to do inlay? I'm assuming he's talking about the Pro or the desktop. I think you can do it in either one, can't you?
Brian Rockwell had an MPG problem. I'll get to that in a little second.
Becca's giving a big shout out to Carrie there.
Yep, I see that.
And Becca Miller rocks. I ain't kidding you. She rocks.
Yep.
She's a busy lady.
She is. She's.
It's amazing all the stuff she's learned and all the tools she's worked with for only being 30 years old. I mean,
I know. I don't know how she learned all that.
fascinating.
She was one of the first people on the Gatton site that reached out to me when I started my build.
Yeah.
Just talking.
Well, don't let Becca fool you. She's an old veteran at this stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It's she's an old CNC veteran. Dave Mitchell says if CNC could make toilet paper, we would all be rich. I suppose so.
I think they do, technically.
All right, guys, we've been on here almost an hour. Has anybody else got any questions for Dan or about anything else?
Brian, I'm sorry, Dave. Brian, on Monday, just go to my live on Monday night at 8 and ask all the questions you want, and I'll answer them.
Okay. Yeah, Mark Lindsay confirmed that the desktop is fine for the inlay. That's what I figured because it's just using that V-car toolpath. There's only a few little things. I think you're limited on the size, and I forget. There's one or two other things. I think you don't have all the gadgets or something. I don't know. There's a list on their website. Dave's asking about Janet, and we don't usually talk about Janet on here on the CNC show, but he's talking about my good friend Janet that I went to school with. It's been under the weather. It wasn't the COVID, as far as I know. I don't know if she ever got her test back for that, but she had pneumonia, and she's doing better, getting better every day, and hopefully she'll be joining us again on the coffee sessions.
Hey, Jason Roush popped in.
Yeah, see, when you leave the door unlocked, all kinds of people come in here.
I'm telling you.
How you doing, Jason? Good to see you, buddy. Gary Davis, I guess, is asking about your dust control system. Dan?
Oh, sure. So it's kind of hard to see because I put some sound deadening panels a few weeks, but it's just a Grizzly single stage dust collector behind the big panel up here, 2 horsepower motor, 3 maybe, I don't remember. And then I used the Super Dust Deputy, and I inverted the motor, took it all apart, and then I just put a plastic 55-gallon drum below. And then up above here, you can't see it, but there's a WIN, maybe WINN filter, air filter that connects to it. It's a terrible example since I can't show you behind the curtain there. And then I just have the ducting going along the floor over to the joiner and overhead going to the CNC.
I have to ask something real quick. That big boxy looking thing, is that for noise?
Yes, and it made a huge difference. So I make a lot of these sound panels for churches and gathering places. And the last one that I did, I had some left material, and so I just went ahead and slapped that together real quick. And unfortunately, it looks like it, but it really cut down the noise a lot. Used to be when I would turn that on, you couldn't hold a conversation. If I turn it on over here, you can still hear it, but it's not nearly like it was.
Yeah, that's very quiet. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I'm sticking mine in a closet when I build the new shop.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 closets, a closet within a closet.
Yeah, that would be nice to put it outside or something, but for now, that's where it has to sit.
Yeah, Paul Stewart says they all think they're early because Dave put the wrong time in. Yeah, but the real fans don't go live here. The ones that are here every week.
You
All right, I'm looking here through the.
did you see what Dean wrote a little earlier, Dave? He said nothing to do with CNC, but when my wife turned 40, she said at a party, I said at a party I was going to trade her in for two 20-year-olds. Without skipping a beat, she said, "You're not wired for 220."
Yeah, good one. That's a good one.
That's hilarious. I got to remember that
She
one.
let you know, didn't she?
Yeah.
Okay. Here it says, Becca ladies do rule, 20 plus years programming, operating at work, ready to play with my own at home. Excellent. I can't wait to see what you do with that thing. Here. Let's see. Yeah, Rob does make a point here. Once the bit hits the wood, it doesn't matter how quiet the dust system is. Unless it's a V car, they're not quite as loud as the, when you're going in deep with the big ones.
Well, I've got an interesting situation at home. My enclosure cuts out just about all the noise there is, but outside of the enclosure, I have a Cyclone with a 16-gallon shop vac, and then the exhaust goes straight out the outside for the fine dust. But that shop vac, when it turns on, I don't care what I'm cutting. I can't hear it in the enclosure, but I can hear that shop vac.
Yeah, Marlon Haynes has a question for all three of us. He says, "What's the best thing you've made on your CNC?" Dan, you want to go first?
I'm too new to answer that. To me, the last thing is the best thing.
Yeah.
Came off at last.
Yeah. What do you say, Javi?
It's a good question. I don't know. I've made a lot of fun little tools. I'll tell you, the thing it's not particularly a fancy thing or anything, but I've got this round to it that I made. All I did was it's about 12 inches around. It's 3-dimensional. It's cone. I did it back when I was doing Learn CNC with Javi. I still got those videos up on my YouTube, and just to show how you do 3-dimensional curves and rails and V-carves all at the same time. And it's nothing great, but it receives so many comments every time I yank it out because it just says "to it" and no more excuses. That's it. And every time somebody talks about it to it, he goes, "Oh, like Hobby has,"
Yeah. Steve from Harnell Media says, in Dave's case, Marlon, it would be everyone else's CNC.
Yeah.
That's kind of true. The stuff I like, I don't really have a favorite thing that I've made. I probably haven't made it yet, but I like when I make something that's really useful. Like I've used my CNC to cut the parts that are for a drum sander that I made using parts off an old treadmill.
Yep.
It works like a champ. Just all kinds of jigs and fixtures and things that I use all the time. They're not fancy and they're not really what you would call a project, but I just like making useful things. And of course, the Gatton CNC kits are right up there with all of that. So
you got a point. Every time they're all one-offs, but every time you need something, I guess similar to the people that are really into 3D modeling in the plastic stuff, every time you need something and you could do it on a CNC, I needed an insert for the hobby box as everything falls apart that could hold a couple of fans, could hold a couple of boards, and I pocketed the areas so the little solder points of the board won't touch. So it's basically a spacer. But things like that, uh, you just, necessity. You need something. You go, oh, I can cut this out.
Ryan Haynes says, Dave, do you have a video on the drum sander build? I do. It may even be more than one, but I think it might just be one video.
Let me go pull that up.
And it was several years ago. I've been doing this YouTube thing a long time. So I've got, between the live streams and videos, I probably got somewhere between 400 and 500 videos.
Here is part 1. I'm putting it in the.
Did you find it that quick?
Yeah, I got part 1, and part 2 is
two parts.
There's 2 parts, and
Okay.
you're a young buck in that thing.
Yeah, I told you a long time ago. When was that? When was the published date on that?
Let's see. That was October 27, 2013.
Holy cow! 7 years, almost 7 years ago. Yeah. Told you I've been around a long time. Ryan Ballard says Javi's participating in the no shave quarantine challenge.
There you go.
I think I'm participating in the no haircut because I'm starting to get a little shaggy around the ears, and I sure don't want to go down there in a room full of people
you're right.
to get a haircut.
I'm sorry, I was corrected. There is a part 3.
That was it. Okay. I can't remember. And one of my most popular videos, not the most popular, but one of the most popular videos that I did in December of 2017, I think. It's called Making an Economy Bowl. In that video, you'll see me use that drum sander. And I've used it several times, but a lot of times I don't video it because I'm wearing a dust mask, and it's kind of messy. I've got a place where I can hook my shop back to it and all, but it's still a little dusty.
And Making an Economy Bowl is up right now. Oh, by the way, Dave, I must say you actually had those first 3 videos were so old that all your hair was not white.
Really? Okay.
It's a little tinge of dark here and there.
All right. Yeah. Well, it's old then. Because my hair's been going gray since I turned 40. So. All right. Anybody got any last minute questions? Oh, Becca's asking me. Wasn't Rocky video my most popular? It's not the most as far as views, but it's usually in. A lot of times it's in the top 10 of the number of views, and it's funny because it'll fall out of the top 10, and then all of a sudden somebody, I guess, runs across it and they're like, "Oh, that's cool," and they share it or something. I don't know, and then next thing you know, it's getting a bunch of views again. But Rocky has no idea how big a star he is. He doesn't have a clue. But I think that video, I think it's got like, I don't know, over 150,000 views or something like that. And all it is him sleeping. All right, we're getting some weird questions now. What is the most popular? The most popular video I have is part 1 of making a copy carver duplicator. I call it duplicator. But I made one of those. And that one has over 1 million views. And I don't know why. There wasn't really nothing special about it, but just a fluke. All righty, guys. I guess we're going to wrap this one up. I don't think. Okay, here. Let's get this question. Do you do any acrylic, Dan? Somebody's asking, what bits do you recommend for cutting acrylic? Do you do any acrylic cutting at all?
I haven't yet. No.
Okay. Javi, you want to tackle that one?
Sure. As a
Did you-
sign guy for 12 years, I can tell you, obviously, 40 watt to 100 watt CO2 laser is best for cutting acrylic. But if you must do it with the CNC, keep in mind, the faster you go, the worse it is. It'll melt the acrylic and you'll get globs everywhere. You need to slow down the bit, increase the speeds to the right amount. A simple 2-flute end mill works best. One flute is even better if you've got it. You don't want you want that bit as cool as possible, and that's the short answer.
All right. I think Andrew Haig sums it up pretty good. He says, fun show, great looking machine. Good night. So, yep. It's time to wrap this one up, though. So, I want to thank all y'all. We've got a whole bunch of thumbs up over there. If you enjoyed tonight's thing, give a thumbs up on the way out, and I would appreciate it. Thank you, Dan, for. Oh, and by the way, when we sign off, I forgot to tell you this, but when we sign off and we all wave and say good night, you don't have to go anywhere. You can hang around. You can hang around. But I've had guests on before, and I forget to tell them that, and we say good night, and I do the outro.
It brings you back, and we chat.
They're gone. So, but anyway, yeah, you don't have to. You don't have to take off. But we're gonna see if I can find that magic button and get us out of here. Everybody have a good one. Have an awesome weekend. Stay safe. Stay away from all them Corona cooties. And we will see y'all next week. Everybody have a good one.